Welcome back, everyone. Today's Cowboys news feels like one of those moments that makes the entire league stop and stare. Because out of nowhere, the Dallas Cowboys have pulled off a move that nobody saw coming, a move that instantly changes the identity of this defense and sends a loud message to the rest of the NFL. With Budda Baker officially signing with Dallas and turning what was already a talented secondary into something downright nasty, intimidating, and built to punish opposing offenses every single Sunday. And while this script is an expanded, high-energy breakdown of the story, it can be extended even further if you want a longer version later. The shock factor of this signing cannot be overstated, because Budda Baker is not just another name on a roster or a depth piece brought in to compete in camp. He is one of the most respected safeties in football, a leader, a tone setter, and a player whose impact goes far beyond the stat sheet. And the moment the news broke that he was heading to Dallas, the reaction across Cowboys Nation was instant disbelief followed by pure excitement, because fans immediately understood what this meant for a defense that has been knocking on the door of greatness but has sometimes lacked that final, ruthless edge when it mattered most. For years, Budda Baker has been the heartbeat of the Arizona Cardinals defense, a player who lined up every week knowing the opposing offense was going to test him, scheme against him, and still fail to neutralize his presence, because Baker plays the game with a rare combination of intelligence, speed, physicality, and pure desire. And when you turn on the tape, you don't just see tackles and interceptions. You see a safety who erases mistakes, cleans up broken plays, and delivers hits that Mac. Your receivers think twice before going over the middle again. Now imagine that player stepping into a Dallas defense that already features stars at every level, a defense that thrives on speed, aggression, and attacking the football, and suddenly you begin to understand why this move is being described as a nightmare scenario for quarterbacks across the league. Because Budda Baker is the kind of defender who thrives in chaos, who loves disguising coverages, creeping into the box, blitzing off the edge, or dropping back at the last second to bait a throw. Andy and Dan Quinn's aggressive scheme, his versatility becomes a weapon that can be unleashed in countless ways. The Cowboys secondary, which has already shown flashes of dominance, now takes a massive leap forward, because Budda Baker brings not only elite play but also veteran leadership to a room that is loaded with talent but still hungry for consistency in the biggest moments. And when you add a player like Baker to the mix, you are essentially adding another coach on the field, someone who reads formations before the snap, communicates adjustments, and holds everyone around him to a higher standard. Effort and accountability. What makes this signing even more fascinating is how unexpected it was, because there were no long weeks of rumors linking Baker to Dallas, no constant leaks suggesting this move was inevitable. And that surprise element is exactly what has fans buzzing, because it feels like one of those rare front office masterstrokes where everything lines up at the perfect moment. And suddenly the Cowboys find themselves with a defender who can single-handedly change the outcome of games. From a schematic standpoint, Budda Baker fits Dallas like a glove, because he is at his best when he is allowed to play fast and instinctive football, and the Cowboys defense thrives on creating confusion for quarterbacks, forcing quick decisions, and capitalizing on mistakes, and Baker's ability to rotate between deep safety, slot coverage, run support, and blitz packages means opposing offenses will have to account for him on every single snap, whether he is lined up 20 yards off the ball, or reaping toward the line of scrimmage with bad intentions. The physicality he brings is something Cowboys fans have been craving, because while Dallas has speed and playmaking ability, there have been moments in recent seasons where opposing teams were able to attack the middle of the field or exploit missed tackles, and Budda Baker simply does not allow that kind of softness, as he is known around the league for his relentless pursuit, his willingness to throw his body into ball carriers, and his ability to deliver clean, powerful hits that set the tone for the entire defense. Beyond the X's and O's, there is an emotional element to this signing that cannot be ignored, because Budda Baker plays with a chip on his shoulder, a constant edge that fuels his performance, and that mentality fits perfectly with a Cowboys team that is tired of being labeled as talented but unfulfilled, because this move signals a shift toward a more ruthless identity. One where the defense is not just trying to slow teams down but actively intimidate them. Quarterbacks preparing to face Dallas now have another problem to solve, because Budda Baker is a master of disguise, often showing one look before the snap and rotating into another at the last second, and those subtle movements can be the difference between a completion and a turnover, and with ball hawks around him, any hesitation or misread becomes a potential disaster for the offense. The ripple effect of this signing extends beyond the secondary itself, because a dominant safety can elevate the play of everyone around him, from cornerbacks who can be more aggressive knowing they have help over the top, to linebackers who can focus on their responsibilities without worrying about coverage breakdowns behind them, and even the pass rush benefits. Because quarterbacks forced to hold the ball an extra half second often find themselves on the ground. Cowboys fans have already begun imagining the possibilities, envisioning Budda Baker flying downhill to stop a run on 3rd and short, or jumping a route to snag a crucial interception late in the 4th quarter, and those moments are not fantasy scenarios, they are plays he has made time and time again throughout his career, and now he gets to make them wearing the star on his helmet. This move also sends a clear message to the rest of the NFC, and especially to divisional rivals, that Dallas is all in on building a championship-caliber defense, because adding a player of Budda Baker's caliber is not about making headlines for one news cycle, it is about raising the standard and showing that the front office is willing to be aggressive to close the gap between potential and reality. Inside the locker room, Budda Baker's arrival is likely to have an immediate impact, because younger players gravitate toward veterans who lead by example. And Baker is known as someone who prepares relentlessly, studies film obsessively, and brings the same intensity to practice that he brings on game day, and that kind of professionalism is contagious, especially on a team with Super Bowl aspirations. There is also something poetic about the timing of this signing, because the Cowboys' defense has been building toward this moment, stacking talent year after year, and now with Budda Baker in the fold, it feels like the final piece of a puzzle that transforms a very good unit into a potentially elite one, capable of carrying the team through tough stretches and delivering when the pressure is at its highest. Opposing coaches are already adjusting their game plans, because facing a Dallas defense with Budda Baker means the margin for error shrinks dramatically, and offenses that rely on quick throws, crossing routes, and misdirection will find those windows closing faster than ever, as Baker's speed and anticipation allow him to erase space in the blink of an eye. For Cowboys Nation, this signing reignites a level of excitement that goes beyond the usual offseason buzz, because it feels like a statement move, one that says the Cowboys are no longer content with simply competing, but are determined to dominate, and Budda Baker embodies that mindset with every snap he plays. As the season approaches, all eyes will be on how the Cowboys deploy their newest star, how the chemistry develops within the secondary, and how quickly Budda Baker becomes the emotional leader of this defense. But one thing is already clear, the Cowboys secondary has officially turned nasty, and the rest of the league has been put on notice. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the shocking Budda Baker signing and what it means for the Dallas Cowboys, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel for non-stop Cowboys news and updates, and let me know in the comments how dangerous you think this defense can be with Budda Baker in the mix, because this season is shaping up to be something special, and you will not want to miss a single moment.